Okay, everybody's got a fucking podcast. I mean, we have a podcast, so obviously anyone can do it.
Wait, this is a podcast? Are you recording right now?
Technical difficulties.
No, you don't have to say anything. I'm going to edit it out.
Technical difficulties.
Okay.
I put mayonnaise on a pickle.
It was not the best, but it might have been the worst.
Do my feet? I mean, my feet stink, right?
Yeah.
Was one of those, and then besides that, the only other thing I saw was an ultra right-wing Instagram post that was like, bunch of woke people trying to make Indiana Jones are gonna ruin it, sexualizing women and blah blah. I was like, oh my god.
I would say Indy probably gets sexualized more than the women. And
I would say he definitely does. But yeah. Hey guys.
Hello.
This is not Dial of Destiny. This is The Last Crusade.
Dun dun dun.
This is Content Crisis. I think you know that. You clicked on it, but you know there's autoplay, so I'm not gonna be a cunt about it. I'm Tyler,
I am Jason.
I'm Michael.
and so we're doing this. Here's what we got for you today, just off the top here. We're gonna look into some public reception of the movie. Basically, I'm just gonna read Rotten Tomatoes, likes, dislikes. That's pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna do our bad section, which would consist of bad trailer. Sometimes movie trailer can be misleading, make you think the movie's a bit more action-packed or more focused on one thing or another than it actually is, and then it's completely different. So that is the exercise here, taking clips to make the movie look like something else, but we're trying to be funny about it. Bad summary, the best explanation I have for this is that the max summary for The Matrix is a computer hacker joins forces with rebel warriors to battle a malevolent cyber intelligence. Sort of summarizes the movie, but not at the same time. So that's where I got the idea for bad summary. So we'll try to do that here, but be as funny as possible about it. Bad casting. Imagine Sean Connery's playing Superman, or The Rock's playing, McLovin in Superbad. The goal here is to say a name that would not work in a specific role at all, but of course try to be funny about it. Then we have our live tweets. Any thoughts, commentary that you had about certain scenes or moments in the movie that maybe don't fit anywhere else, but we wanted to share. And then we have our talking points, of course, which, questions, conversation prompts, what have you. So, if you're new here, you know what's coming. So yeah, you guys want to dive into the Crusade reception? What do you think the percentage for Last Crusade on Rotten Tomatoes is? The tomato meter, not the audience score.
I'm gonna go with a cool 78%.
Ooh. I'll say 65.
There's an 84% on the tomato meter. That's like the real critics and shit.
Not bad,
So,
Indy. Not bad.
right?
That's surprising.
Audience score is even better.
106.
I'm gonna guess 89.
You want to guess an actual possibility?
Yeah. I'll say like 92.
94.
94.
Oh, wow, that's
Hot
high.
damn.
Yeah. Critics' consensus says it's lighter and more comedic than its predecessor, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, returns the series to the brisk serial adventure of raiders while adding a dynamite double act between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. I'll just throw this out right now. Is Sean Connery a good actor, or was he James Bond?
He's James Bond.
He's James Bond.
Okay, thank you.
There's
1,000%.
no doubt in my mind.
Because everybody just like critical acclaim just was like, oh, Sean Connery, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I've watched a lot of Sean Connery.
He does one role
Sexy
pretty well.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we got? Let's get some. And honestly, I cannot find, a bad review on the official reviews. No one said bad shit about this.
Mm-hmm. Which is a shame. You always want to
Yeah,
see
you
a
want one.
widely, a well-received movie.
Yeah.
You want to hear that one guy who is Harrison Ford is a Nazi and everything he does
Fucking
is
phone it in.
propaganda. And
I just don't think anyone hated Harrison Ford in anything he did during that time.
No,
he
that's
could
not
literally,
You could shit in a bag and throw it at your mom.
and she would still be like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
oh, thanks Harrison
Yeah.
Ford.
He literally
I'll
could do
treasure
no
it
wrong.
always. I'll put it in my shit box.
Yeah.
The worst thing I've found is it feels very much a retread of Raiders, but that was a great movie, so it's not exactly as if that's a bad plan.
Sure.
That's the worst one I found. So, yeah, pretty much move past that because everything was good. So, likes, dislikes, guys? Jason?
Sure. As far as things that I like, I really just enjoy kind of the early scenes in general when we get to kind of focus on some of like the lore dumps in the history. When we get to kind of have those conversations, because I don't really know anything about history, and it makes me feel like I'm suddenly smarter by watching them talk about probably like at least like 35 to 65% of like made up history.
Right.
At least some of it's got to be real, but like it's a movie. We got to bullshit it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I always really enjoy those sequences, and it makes me feel like I am like getting the lore dump, and this is so I can understand the rest of the movie. So I like those weird bits of hand holding. That's for plot reasons.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like the real and goofy side of Indy throughout this one.
Yeah.
Where like it's like you're nervous in front of your dad, so everything you do is kind of awkward. And that's what I felt like. I felt like it was just him not on his 100% A game. It was just him kind of being like, my dad's watching. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like just
Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this
Exactly.
up.
I loved that so much.
I completely agree. The indie humor and the small jokes with the little callbacks, I really like. So when they were in the catacombs and they walk by and she goes, "What is this?" And he goes, "Ark of the Covenant." And she goes, "You sure?" And he goes, Pretty sure. I thought that, like, small stuff like that. But yeah, exactly. His humor, his sidekick in this one was his dad, which there's all those bonds that they have. The ups and downs throughout the whole movie. And
Bonds.
then Bonds, yes. And then to the very end where they like repair their relationship, the very like last scene I thought was pretty good. I thought this one started the best out of the three we've done.
Yeah.
Because like you get like the little callback to like young Indy. You get like, oh, like this dude loves history and this is how it started and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool to see that. It was cool to bring younger actors in, even though River Phoenix is now dead, but yeah, R.I.P. in peace. Yeah, everything about it I thought was really good. It didn't seem as deep as maybe one of the other two, as far as like getting really in depth with the characters or something like that. But with that said, if it's a popcorn movie, it's the best of the series. Everything is action packed nonstop. It just goes, does not stop till the credits roll.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it in that aspect.
I don't think I'll be too redundant here with mine, because sometimes I skip if what I've said has already been said. But I kind of love that we come back to like standard indie format, because Temple of Doom was kind of a, I mean, it's still an indie movie, but it goes
like an
off
offshoot,
the trail
yeah.
a little bit. So Indy's kind of back in his element, fighting off Nazis, right? Classic indie enemy. I love seeing Sala back. I was very happy about that. I feel like we had more moments. I know all of these movies have these moments, but I feel like we had more moments where you say, "Yeah, really?" But I don't think for example, I don't think the crew from like the beginning, then he's on the ship in the middle of the ocean or wherever the hell, and they like that guy still wears that same suit every day.
What's
and
in those
dudes? Well, sure. And that dude still has the fucking cross. And it's like, well, aren't these guys like kind of criminals? Like, wouldn't they have sold this shit off by now?
Exactly. And I thought that cross, because it was like, all right, it's been 20-something years or 15 years or whatever. I thought the cross was going to be a major player in the movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely did not come up after that. He was like, oh,
It
yeah,
was more
here's
just
this museum
like
piece.
a petty, like, hey, remember?
Right.
Like,
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. So, just a couple more things like that I felt like in this one, but mostly I loved the shit out of the movie. My bad trailer for this one was the quest to get the autograph of the Fuhrer. Could also work for the bad summary.
yeah. I loved that scene so much just because there was so much tension there, and then just the Adolf Hitler hands it back to him, pushes him out of the way so they can move on with it. I love that scene so much.
Yeah.
I was gonna say with that scene, the thought and the shot and everything of like being this massive thing, massive book burning. You're like, oh, history. This is great. I really love that. And they literally did it for like 2.5 minutes for that whole thing.
Yeah.
And just all of the stuff getting into that. Again, practical effects with Indiana Jones all the time. Like, oh, it's fantastic. I loved it. And yeah, the funny part about that where he goes like, stares him down, starts writing Adolf Hitler, and it gets like a small little smirk out of Harrison's character. You're just like,
hilarious. Thank you.
It's so good. Yeah, as far as kind of the bad trailer I had, it's like clearly we have to turn this into kind of like a buddy comedy, Jones Jr. and Senior, just getting to shenanigans, getting by. So kind of lighthearted montage of them being, tied up in the castle with like the real nice, light soundtrack to it there. Jones Jr. throwing the one general dude out of the Zeppelin. And, I think he's saying he didn't have a ticket.
Yeah, no ticket.
Yeah, no ticket. Just like all of that is so like, buddy comedy material there. And I feel like we could have stapled enough scenes of that together that you could have sold it just as that and people would have still gone to see it.
That's great. I had nothing for this. I could think of nothing. No. Dude, like, because...
Some of these are tough.
Well, this one was ridiculously tough because, like, all I could picture the whole time, and I watched it, like, 4, 5, 6 times to lead up to this, and it was like every time I pictured it was just like action, 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 action. So the only thing I kept thinking in the back of my brain was just, like, somehow try to show Indiana Jones as, like, Jean-Claude Van Damme at the time of just, like, whooping ass. And like doing things, and then you watch it. And
Harrison
like,
Ford as action hero instead of just like Indiana Jones kind of thing.
Like that's the only thing that stuck out in my brain. I was like, I feel like an idiot writing that, so I will try to find something else.
Kind of an interesting thought there, right? So it's like we do have like our action heroes, and then Indy is very much like an adventure hero, right?
Yeah,
he's more of like the interaction with the environment and the story rather than interacting with like physical combat and the action sequences themselves. So. Kind of jumping ship over into making him like that action hero thing. That would actually be probably pretty good.
All right. So my bad summary. Filthy cum slut takes 2 big loads from father and son.
Oh man, he went straight for it.
Very nice. All right.
Straight for it.
Beat up the Eskimo brothers.
Oh shoot.
So. I hope I got that last part out. Father and son. That's what it. Yeah, obvious. It's obvious once you get it out. I was like, dude, you know how many times I said that just in the mirror? Like, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. Just so funny. I could,
it's
just
hilarious.
so I could like get it out here, and then that last bit, I fucking father and son. So yeah,
she talks in her sleep.
Talks in her sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, and just it's just Sean Connery.
Right.
It's just Bond out there.
Yeah.
It's like, of course he did.
So
Oh my god.
So I had National Lampoon's Jones Family Vacation.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
And then Holy Grail's oldest employee finally retires.
Oh, that's amazing. You're like, what, 500 now?
There's a lot in his pension.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
He's going to have a fun time.
Yeah.
Or he's dead now. It could go either way.
Absolutely dead. I had Trump-like billionaire uses Nazis for the most epic suicide in history of humanity.
Nice.
Very good.
Some bad casting. I said Sean Connery.
Just itself.
Just like, why did he cluck like a chicken? Like the guy just feels like a constant caricature of himself. But anyway,
Yes, I had that written down too.
Yeah. I looked at again, other movies from '89. So that was my strategy again. So I said Jack Nicholson is Indy. The Batman was in '89. He was the Joker. I said or Timothy Dalton because License to Kill was the same year.
Fair.
And then another movie that came out that year was Driving Miss Daisy. So I said Jessica Tandy could be Dr. Schneider.
There you go. So Danny DeVito is Jones Sr.
Of course.
Oh, that's good.
I just mostly just because we just have to create that gap between Junior and Senior, all the more so.
Yeah.
So that would be really good. And then also Robin Williams as Indy. So
Okay.
so my mindset with this was, so we have Indy who is like pretty serious, but then he's got a lot of that sass and wit, and then kind of that lightheartedness, and it's in like this certain ratio. And then if we just inverse that completely, it's Robin Williams with all the lighthearted, witty, jokey stuff there, and only this tiny bit of seriousness to get him through every scene. So.
Yeah, and then you think about Robin Williams, like when Indy does the whole Scottish accent thing.
Yeah.
Thinking about Robin Williams doing that scene, that would be brilliant. It'd be gold.
Oh, yeah. So I had Robin for Indy. I had Jim Carrey or Eddie Murphy or Steve Martin as the eccentric billionaire bad guy. Just to throw more humor into it and make him very eccentric.
I think Eddie Murphy in that honestly would be pretty entertaining.
Yeah. So again, took the top grossing female actors of the year. So the female Nazi scientist I had would either be, if you're gonna do hot or not, Michelle Pfeiffer or Kathy Bates.
Okay.
And then the dad, I just had Mel Gibson. And for whatever reason, he was on the list in '89, but I wanted him to be pictured as like current day Mel Gibson with super gray beard, big beard, thick beard type thing, just washed up guy.
I can see it.
I do feel bad. Gibson gets some shit on this podcast because he was one of the candidates for Bond back in the day during that like Dalton Brosnan era.
And if we were around and had any say in it, we would have never allowed that to
yeah,
happen.
we weren't nice about it. Not that anybody listens, so Mel's fine.
Mel, friend of the show.
Yeah, there's no friends of the show, I don't think. No. All right, so you got any like you want to like just go in a circle on live tweets?
Sure.
I mean, do you guys have a lot of them, or am I the only one that has like a lot of live tweets?
I had a couple.
I got a gaggle.
Okay. A gaggle. All right. I said Indy's apparently always a nerd as a teenager. It belongs in a museum. Treasure hunter's okay with child murder.
Fucking square.
100%. I just liked how Indy stole all of his drip from this random thief.
Yeah.
Like, he has just decided, I'm going to embody this clear
Oh, yeah.
enemy in my life, but, like, I'm going to be the better version of him.
But he's so cool.
He looks awesome. Disagree with his morals. Man's got
Belongs in a
drip.
museum.
Man's got drip.
Oh, but he was really nice to me once. My dad isn't there for me, so he's my new dad.
Yep.
I want to be you.
100%.
By the way, heroin's starting to look good. Anyway.
Buddy. So one that I had was as the ship scene in the very beginning. I don't know why, like as soon as I was like, he needs to get off that boat. And it was like he just like kind of jumps off or gets washed off, and then all of a sudden it was like, yep, big wave comes. And I just rolled laughing. And so I just said, couldn't stop fucking laughing about the ship blowing up. Oh, by the way, evil villain is now dead because Hat just floats by. Yeah. I was like, ha, 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 evil villain's dead. Just the dumbest thing I could think of at the time because it just was so ridiculous to, like, wrap up that tiny opening little bit of, like, this is your enemy now. All right, let's wrap that. Let's move on.
Yeah. I skip ahead a little bit, but just when he meets Schneider in Venice, he's like, you have your father's eyes, my mother's ears, but the rest belongs to you. It's like really the first time we've seen Indy like hardcore
Actively.
after a woman.
Yeah.
Like usually they just kind of fall in his lap. So.
Well, it is the hottest indie girl.
Yeah.
She is pretty darn cute. One of my complaints was kind of just through when this was when we were still back in college and he was kind of doing his class thing. It's like, how is Indy always somehow on the first day of class and we're doing like an overview of a subject and like we're not like just in the thick of anything?
Because he's never there.
Like, and that's what I was saying. I was like,
Yeah.
this dude has so much paid time off. It was like every day is the first day of class because it's the only one he probably shows up for.
Oh, yeah.
At least he embraced it in Crystal Skull where he's like, it was like part-time. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Every part time. He only
We get
teaches
it.
that first class. And
He
then
better
he's got
not be getting
a
health
student
insurance.
teacher. He's probably banging, filling the rest.
Oh, yeah.
But
Going.
My tweets are just like random thoughts I have watching
okay.
this. Yeah,
Just
so I
Give
literally
little
put,
context, then just like the,
if Venice is underwater, how the fuck do they have catacombs? Which literally, it was just like watching, I was like, oh, so they got off a boat. And then it's like, oh, yeah, no, the museum. That's not a museum, that's a church. Well, it's a library, blah, 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 whatever. And they go in, and he's just like, there's got to be catacombs down here. And they go down, I'm just like, you're going down to water, dude. What the fuck is going on?
let's just talk about how that is like the smallest brain, like, you know, the first Legend of Zelda level puzzle design of just number.
Number!
Yeah. Like, it's just so small brain.
Oh, and movie mistakes with that. He's up there and he goes, 10, gotta start there. And he runs down, grabs the thing, and then they show it. And there's just no X on the floor.
Yeah, the
anymore.
X is gone.
Yeah, just completely gone, broad daylight. Like, oh, this is fucking obvious as fuck. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Let's
when
keep
he
going.
first is like trying to get the grout away, like there's the X, but yeah, once it's like kind of zoomed out and he's smacking the ground, no X.
Yeah.
So. My other one was down in the catacombs. Petroleum everywhere, carrying a dripping flaming torch. Room probably should have caught on fire. Fumes. Also not very Christian of the Grail defenders. Just set the room ablaze.
Yeah.
This is hard.
So to piggyback that, I also said, how is Indy able to open his eyes just in gas?
Right.
Petroleum.
I don't know how petroleum works. It's been a while since
know
I
how
bathed in
petroleum
it.
works.
So
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of recent experience with it, but it seems unlikely that he'd be able to get much done down there.
I've been buying a lot of petroleum jelly as an investment. Yeah.
Right. So that's for a different thing that we'll
Hey.
talk about later.
Yeah.
What you got?
I found Indy just cringe throughout pretty much this whole first part of it. It really throughout a lot of this here, but when he's trying to pick up on Schneider and just be hot and horny, he's just got these really like cringy one-liners, like he's trying so hard to be cool.
Yeah.
And it's just really weird because, you know, coming through these movies, like you're already pretty convinced Indy's the coolest. You know, you don't make it this far, I think, without that thought. And then he gets to be trying too hard, and it gets to be a little bit too real. Of, you know, you're here trying to keep you interested kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, Indy, it's all right. Like I know what you're about. You don't have to try so hard.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to jump ahead a lot on this.
Yeah.
Favorite nobody character in the whole movie was the tank driver with the Fu Manchu, just like,
Sure.
classic.
Yeah.
Thought he was fucking amazing, and he only lived for like 7 seconds in the movie.
Yeah. Here's that movie rule again. Are you too hot? Do you hate each other? Ready, set, bang.
Yeah, it's the rule. That's why me and Tyler get along so well.
So hot. So hot.
So much banging.
Yeah.
All of the banging.
So this is going through back to where I think the Jones have been captured and Marcus is kind of wandering around, and we're, you know, giving the illusion that Marcus speaks all these languages and is very, you know, apt at getting around and communicating with people. And then he's really just wandering around with no spatial awareness, just speaking in English to people.
Water?
That guy is 100% my spirit animal.
Water?
like
thank
he's
you.
got
Fish
no
make loving it.
He's got no quest markers. He's got no speech skills. He's got no luck. He's just NPCing his way through that entire sequence, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
I feel bad about saying this now that he's your spirit animal, but I feel like they made him so much dumber in this movie.
Yeah. They
Like, he was a
definitely had to
competent
heavy-hand it.
person in Raiders, and you were like, okay, cool, Marcus Brody, he's
Surface level.
surface level yet. Well, so
We
I
didn't get
say
to dive
that.
too deep into him.
Yeah.
So when the tank goes over and Indy comes back and it's like the whole joke, like, Junior, you're back. Ah, I thought I lost you. And like Saul is just like staring up and like so happy about it. And Brody's just sitting there like,
Yeah. No, they did. Yeah.
he's just like, I'm just like, holy shit, dude. He's
Like, boy
so
cannot be
stupid.
this dense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
not possible.
It's like, what is going on?
Hey, corporate structures, man. Anyway,
Anywho,
you got any more?
I don't have any more tweets.
Okay.
Do you want to move to talking points?
Yeah. Let me blow through mine here.
Yeah.
Or do you have any more as well? Are we gonna?
I just got a gaggle, so I really harped on just the
Okay.
absolute bumfuckery of Jones Jr. and Senior whenever they're together.
Right.
They just are so awkward, and I love them.
All right, I'll just blow through mine here real quick. What kind of prison is Henry in where he can mail stuff and he has a desk and vases and shit? I don't need that. I need that diary. Where is it? I don't have it. I don't know. By the way, unrelated question. Can I mail something? I love, fucking Brody. Water, no thank you. Fish make love in it. Bad CGI with Indy standing on the ledge. In the end there. The spoof version of this movie is that there is no Grail. A bunch of dudes just died because of some ancient booby traps. His dad dies from the gunshot wound. Indy goes in there, just gets his head chopped off. It, rolls over to his dad. It's the last thing his dad sees before he dies. The Nazis just shoot Marcus and Sala, shrug, and leave.
And credits.
Yep. So
So go.
that would be all my tweets. So,
Go team.
yep. Who's got one?
I got a talking
Question
point.
they're really excited about.
All right. So I got a talking point.
You excited about it though?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you excited?
I'm excited to hear. Yeah, let's do this.
Okay.
Fucking balls of the wall. Roll it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Go.
I'm hard.
Go for it.
No, about yours.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
this is different then. I wanted to kind of talk about, so like in the ending scene, towards the end there, where Schneider was trying to get the Grail. She's very greedy and was like, "Oh, I can get it," reaching for it very desperately. And then almost immediately after, we have Indy in pretty much that same position where he's like, "No, I can get it." When I kind of saw that,
I hope I get it.
Yeah, I kind of went back and just thought about some of the other scenes like throughout this movie and was starting to kind of question is like how motivated is Indy still by like doing this for the good as much as just like I want this, I want this, I want this. And I kind of just think about now that Indy's probably been doing this for several years now. Is he still like the good person just because he ends up bringing them back to like the museum, or is this still just kind of like his selfish like I get to steal things that are cool and shiny, but they still get to go somewhere else? And I just kind of thought about that a lot after seeing that immediate like same greed that Schneider had. And I was thinking about, is Indy really better than everybody else, or does he just happen to win more?
Well, the thing I was thinking about was because Spielberg in the commentary focuses so much on like Lucas brings him the story, like kind of the idea for the story, and then Spielberg's talking about, well, he wants it to be a father-son story. And then you think about Indy goes and he finds that cross in the beginning of the movie, and it has to do like with that. I don't know that you can directly tie that one to his dad, but he goes and he finds that cross, and then he's going through all this shit because when he finds out his dad's missing, he goes and he's like, Dad, looking around his house and shit. He's all concerned. Whereas, when they talk, it makes it really sound like he's kind of bitter about everything that, transpired between them. But he's very concerned about him. And so then in the end, where he's sitting there reaching for the Grail, I don't know whether it was supposed to be kind of symbolic of, was he reaching for the Grail because he was like, his dad's a Grail, what do you call him? Grail, not conspiratist. That's not the right word. Anyway, enthusiast, probably.
Yeah.
I think
he like devoted his whole life essentially.
Grail lore.
Years.
There we go. Yeah. He specializes in Grail lore. That's what he says to Donovan. And so I was like, my thought there was like, well, is he like, I'm going to get it for my dad. Like, I'm going to get it.
You know what? That's an interesting way to kind of think about it. Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. That's pretty good.
I was thinking about the human greed and not the ever need to impress your daddy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's funny. Like, small counterpoint is, I thought Indy was grittier and like more of a scumbag in Raiders, and they kind of like through Temple and this one, kind of made him less of a rough-edged, shittier like grave robber and more of like an archaeologist. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny that you're just like, is Indy doing these things, and like maybe he gets off and like he gets his rocks off of like, I want to steal this, and that's the only thing I care about. I don't care about the value or anything. It's just like, here, museum.
It's the right pursuit, thing. The find, and the getting it. After that, he doesn't need it. Yeah,
but from a lot of people commenting on things, it was just like, yeah, he seemed kind of a slightly watered down version of himself. Where I was like, I could see it. Like, he seems like less of a scumbag. But I think the only thing they have to take that off of is in Raiders is the very first scene of Raiders. Of, like, stealing this idol. Oh, everybody, this is their deity, and I just took it. Nah, fuck it. Run to the plane.
Yeah.
Like that type of thing. So, yeah. They don't know.
You got a prompt you're pumped for?
Best sidekick in the trilogies. Because the dad was good, but I, like you now, Short Round, like hands down, probably the best.
Yep.
Short Round's so good. He's so dynamic. Mm-hmm. He's got a comment to everything. He's
is there
funny.
An argument though, or is it just like doesn't matter? So. It's always Short Round.
That's how I feel.
Fair enough, because I expected someone to be like, well,
I mean, the only better line, Connery has is "She talks in her sleep," so. That's the only line that's like better than something Short Round has said.
I remember my inner Charlemagne.
Yeah, I'm out on that one.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like he still was a super interesting character in this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's number 2 spot at least as far as between him and Short Round.
Well, and I mean, did he really even? What was his partner really in Raiders? I mean, because like you could kind of say Sala, but like it was in and out, and then like sometimes it was Marion.
Yeah.
So
I would assume sidekick would be more Marion. But you're right.
but then
like,
she kind of doubles as the love interest.
Yeah. And Sala kind of also. He doesn't really have one, I guess, in Raiders.
Yeah. All right.
The plot was his sidekick.
Yes. Yeah. The Ark. It was God.
God will never leave you. God was his sidekick.
Harrison Ford as the lead for this new movie with the
Co-starring
co-star Jesus
God.
fucking Christ.
Dun-dun-dun.
So I
God, what was it like working with Harrison Ford?
had a couple things on the ship thing. I don't know how much conversation we'll get into, but it felt needed to bring up. We kind of mentioned it in the live tweets thing. Like, funny, like 26 years later, these guys still have that cross. Again, you know, aren't they stealing stuff for money? Like, what the fuck?
That one was personal.
Continuity of the head guy always wearing the same suit. I guess they just want that guy easily identifiable. Speaking of continuity, Indy's bloody face. Did you notice it's on one side, and then he gets punched in the face, the water comes down, everything, and then it's bloody on this side of the face.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a continuity thing. And then those dudes are just dead. So how far out in the ocean do you think that ship was?
Thank you.
He's just like, he finds a fucking buoy, whatever.
Like a life buoy thing. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. I know it's not buoy. Inner tube. Yeah. What? Is that an inner tube?
It's like a ring. I don't think it's called inner tube.
A life
Okay, well,
preserver.
yeah, there you go. Preserver. Yeah, life preserver.
We'll take it.
I think so.
It preserved his
Because
life.
well, I know
There
a
it is.
buoy.
We'll take it.
A buoy's the big thing with the bell. You know, that's yeah. Anyway.
We'll have a diagram up here. Just for clarity.
By the way, they meant this.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah,
so they're just dead. How far out is he? Like, what's this plan? Like, how? Obviously, he didn't think it out because I mean that's the theme of the whole movie
Yeah.
is like Indy. I don't know, figure something out. You know.
Well, so here's the other thing is just like it literally just says off the coast of such and such, and you're like, cool. And like besides that point, okay, cool. How the fuck does he have to swim? Like, where's he got to go? How the fuck did he get on that boat and not get noticed either?
Right.
It's just like, okay, cool. Like maybe you rode out there. Like, are they anchored? Yeah, big storm. Who knows? But that was the other thing. It was just like just drops you right into this, and it's just like, hey, don't ask questions. Just we need to wrap up one thing real quick. Just real quick.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, cool. Whatever.
And then, like in that thing, I don't know how gold works, but you know, it's all like out in the water for a long time. It seems. Excuse me. Seems like a problem, but so much unknown about that mission. Kind of a lazy connection. I felt like. So, we got.
So I want to talk about how the Holy Grail and kind of this mystic circle of where you can still be alive forever, and how kind of grand scheme of things this is an entirely useless thing to discover.
Considering you can't leave the cave.
Right. So we get the knight whose name I'm forgetting is one of the three brothers, and he's the one who didn't die. So he's just been
Right.
hanging out there for 7 billion years or 700
Yeah.
years, however long they said he's been there.
Give or take.
Just chilling. Number one, perfect English, phenomenal. Just well spoken and everything. Obviously he's still like kind of old because he had trouble lifting the sword and whacking it around and everything. And he was like, "Oh no, I've fallen over. You've bested me."
So
Brave knight.
how well does the Grail work?
Yeah.
Really?
So it's like, is it really just it slows it down like real slow like, or is it just like it kind of wears off after year like 650, and then starts to ramp up from there. But as far as like kind of like supernatural artifacts and I guess like holy boons and everything, it's like this is like pretty damn useless.
Yeah.
You can live forever in like this 85 foot by 85 foot circle. And that's it. Like, are you going to build your house there? And, like, that's where you're going to go and retire? And then, like, you just have, like, a suicide pit just outside the barrier for when you decide you're bored. And you're like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah, because you can't go out for Chinese food.
Yeah.
Right? You go outside and then you just, like, fucking blow away.
So the just the sense, number one, it doesn't make whatsoever for this to be a thing that anyone would want or care about. And number one, I enjoy the caveat that this thing that everybody wants is useless. Like everybody wants to be immortal kind of thing. But also number two, with being immortal, the point of being immortal is that you outlive everything, and that's no fun, right? So it's like it has to be useless because being immortal is already kind of useless because it might be fun for the first, handful of years. But eventually everyone you know and love is dead.
Right.
Eventually the world's going to be destroyed around you and you just don't have the luxury of being able to go along with it.
God damn it, I want some fucking wings.
Yeah.
It's like I can't leave here. I don't know.
Yeah. You got to think he probably gets like news by a carrier pigeon every couple of years.
Sure.
And it's just mostly like a new restaurant opening up like 350 miles
God
away.
damn it, I can't go there.
Yeah.
I hear they have great kebabs. I'll never try them.
Yeah.
Fuck's a kebab?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Uh,
Is that Islam? What is that word? I wanted to say just on that, if you can only use it in the cave, then like why was Henry able to like have the shit poured on him and drink it and like be okay, but then leave? Like when he leaves, in theory, shouldn't the hole just
It just comes right back.
Yeah, come back.
It's a holy site.
It's like, okay, Henry, you got to stay here. We're going to go get doctors. And then you're going to walk past the threshold and the doctors are going to help you.
Yeah.
You're fine until you pass the threshold.
Damn, that is kind of such a plot hole, right? Because otherwise, couldn't you just, like, return, like, every gaggle of years and then just be like, oh, I feel much better now?
Right?
Like, how long does that water... Is it just until you piss it out that, like, you no longer... have the age-defined molecules in your system
Right.
anymore. I think we need a scientist. We might need to write some letters and get some information.
We need an expert in Grail lore.
Yeah. Do we have
Good
any
luck.
Grail enthusiasts on the audience that we could
Email
call
us
on?
at contact@hotline.com. Yeah.
So, funny side note on that. In my brain, when I saw that, I was like, oh, he's been there for 500 years. And I was like, there's no dust anywhere. If he was just drinking the same cup each time, there'd be just, like, dust everywhere else touching everything else.
Well, do you
And the
need to-
one cup.
Do you need to drink it multiple times, or are you one and done as long as you're within the
Oh.
thing? You might be one and done. But
Interesting.
it does beg the question. So, like, hunger and thirst, is all of that just, gone
Just
from you?
goes.
Or do you just get used to it because you're like, I only got so much water. It's kind of my job to watch it.
Well, they say a lot of the time when you're hungry, you're actually thirsty, so...
Maybe he just prays about it, and then just the water appears. It just rises again.
Holy water.
Yeah.
It's a cave. I mean, there's always, like, wet caves and shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the
Caves are always wet and damp.
So you're saying that's just running off some stalactite?
He just perfectly puts the trough under
Yeah.
a stalactite that just fucking just drips
You
right
spend
into
enough
it.
time down there, you're gonna know where the drips are. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Fair enough.
So is that the implication that all water there is the holy water?
It's in the
So
it's
if
in
I-
the holy bird bath.
Okay.
That's a slippery
Well, no,
slope.
what I'm thinking is if I bring in like a Pepsi Cola in there and I dump it into the bath and drink it, like is that now holy Pepsi Cola?
Nope. Devil's juice.
Okay. Devil's juice.
Instant
Well,
death.
You just insta death. You're gone.
So, did they mention that it has to be holy water? Is that
I
what's
don't.
up?
I don't know. It's
'Cause,
just
I mean,
water
if it's-
that's been in this thing.
I guess
Look,
the
man, we
way-
all just assume that as soon as that thing touches said water, it's holy water.
Right, well, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like if you're drinking from the Grail, just like you're good. You know, like I'm drinking fucking apple juice out of the Grail. Like I'm good. You know?
Again, I need this to be real because I would love to run experiments just to get a real firm understanding of
Again,
the
we
rules
need an
involved.
expert in Grail lore.
Yeah.
So,
Can you only drink water out of it?
what's your? I don't know. Again, I think we've gone about as far as we can on this one. What's your next prompt? Question, whatever. I would love if you looked through 6 pages of notes and you're like, I got nothing.
I'm done.
I do have one if you would like a second to go.
No,
through
you're
the
good.
notes.
Go ahead.
Sure. So I'll bring this up knowing that it may not pick up as much from you guys, but there's this game series that's called Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a little kind of in like the vein of like you're exploring for artifacts kind of thing, and then you have like these like platforming puzzle solving sequences, and then you go back through and you do your action sequences. Very Indiana Jones vibe kind of thing, and it just increasingly gets more obnoxious and bigger budget kind of thing.
Then all of a sudden,
much
Tom
like
Holland's
the movies
in the movie. Yeah.
So there's something that's kind of interesting and a thought that makes a lot of sense when you look at like the indie movies and how
That was not Tom Holland shade, by the way.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
Well, the podcast loves Tom Holland.
Everyone loves Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
No, he's great.
But Indy always has infinite luck. He never gets shot. He never gets hurt. He's never really in true danger or peril. The world bends around his survivability kind of thing.
Plot armor.
Specifically in like the Uncharted game series, you don't really have a health bar. As people are shooting at you. You get all like the health low bar effects kind of things with like the screen darkening going red and like kind of shaking a little bit there. But it's really just a portrayal of the character's luck running out, right? So once you run out of luck, that's when that bullet hits you and you die. And it's that same concept that like these like action adventure heroes kind of run with, is that like they have a luck meter and it recharges over time, and that's why sometimes they get into the shit and then miraculously, get out of it there.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just such a good fit for like the Indiana Jones series in general, because it works exactly like that. It builds up. Eventually he gets caught, kidnapped, whatever. He's in a little bit of danger. The cooldown runs out, and then he's back up, ready to go, escape, moving on with the plot. I think that's such an interesting way that you can move that, magicalness of the movies, and then also use it as like a video game concept and kind of explain it away that way.
Yeah.
I think that's neat.
Did you play all of them?
Most of them, and
Yeah.
I mean most of the way through all of them.
I tried to play, and it was just a little too much for me, as far as like, oh, I can't do this. I have to follow the lines of that.
Yeah, it's not
I'm
quite as
spoiled with
free.
new games. Yeah. So yeah, I get the gist and I understand what you're saying, and I guarantee the guys who created that were like, all right, team, everybody watch all the Indiana Joneses real quick, and then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to brainstorm, and then we're going to try to figure out some stuff to throw in a video game.
I'm sure there's enough there that there's enough
Oh, yeah.
callbacks and enough kind of reutilizing a lot of those concepts that they knew what they were doing.
Ooh, Tom Holland, new Indiana Jones?
No.
You thinking a
No
licensed
more.
game?
Oh, okay, in a game, sure, but like, no more indies.
No?
Oh, I
You
mean,
don't
Harrison.
think they're going to stick that pig and let it bleed to...
I hope no one takes over. Leave the fucking things alone. They're great. Just stop.
Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wait. I think anywhere from 6 to 10 years, and then we're gonna have a female Indiana Jones. Is what my plot line is, right?
Okay.
That holds weight. That definitely holds weight.
Indianapolina. I don't know. All right, what do you got?
So I hold this movie up there very highly as far as popcorn movies. I would venture to say it's potentially the best popcorn movie. Practical effects. This one kind of borders on new special effects, potentially overusing it a couple times, but not so much that it ruins the movie for you. I just can't think of a better adventure movie with so much action in it that is out there even currently, where you're like, yeah, like Indiana Jones Last Crusade's good, this is better. Like, I can't think of one, because this movie came out in 89 and it still holds up today. It's still fantastic whenever you watch it.
Definitely.
And so is it potentially the best popcorn movie? Like, is there an argument for another movie you have?
Depends what you're really into, because I've spent a lot of man hours going through Lord of the Rings. So to me that's a popcorn movie, because
Correct.
I'd spend all day going through 1, 2, and 3, and love every minute. So
I
depends
guess
on
that's
the
kind
guy.
of hard to decide what a popcorn movie really
True
is.
definition.
Because, like, you could just, I don't know, like, aren't like the Fast and Furious movies like popcorn movies at this point? You know what I mean? Well, yeah, I know, I get it. I'm not like over here
at
like,
this point, absolutely.
well, Fast and Furious. That's not what I'm bringing up as an opponent. I'm
F is
saying
for family.
if I'm trying to like, think of like the definition of a popcorn movie, it's like John Wick's, like, aren't they like pretty much popcorn movie at this point, right? Just like it's the same dude. He comes in, he fucks people up, some shit blows up, he trips up, overcomes a challenge, then he fucks some more people up, and then he wins, right?
So here's a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
Because this is third movie in, trilogy, obviously, like a legacy movie. You were bringing up, and you said John Wick currently, because there's been 4 of them.
Yeah.
You said Fast and the Furious currently, because there's been fucking 10 of them. Do you think that starting of series, they have one broad thing they look at and they say, hey, this is what we want to accomplish, and then someone else is in their back pocket, or they're in their ear just like, hey, do another one because you guys made us a lot of money, keep going, and it just, everything just devolves into that kind of stuff where it's like, all right, we're out of ideas, fuck it, popcorn movie, just throw a bunch of cool shit on screen and let's do this.
There is something to say, I think, about you create an idea and it appears to be successful. We've seen cases where like movies, while they're still finishing up production, they're like, yeah, no, we got the green light for a second one, so we're gonna do some extra scenes, kind of as we wrap this up to get ahead of producing for the next one. Like we've got enough confidence in this, but for like long running series, so like Fast and the Furious, or for concepts that are maybe like pretty simple enough. So say like the John Wick series, where it's like you have a lot of core concepts, what you're here to do, and the types of things you have to do to fill that screen time. It's more of we know what we're going to do and accomplish in this movie already because it's pretty easy. Let's just figure out how we can make the most money out of them at this point, right? Like, eventually that transition from telling a cohesive, fulfilling story does get a little bit into getting that billion, writing that formula kind of thing, so...
So anything on the top grossing list, popcorn movie? I mean, well, yeah. That's the. I don't know.
Would you consider Marvel movies only popcorn movies?
See, I don't know. Like,
Bum, bum, bum.
well, because it's like
at this point, after
obviously
watching
they
like
are.
800 of them, I'd feel like they're a
Yes.
little popcorny. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, because obviously, like the object is to entertain, right? But then,
Yeah.
at what point is that like, novel brought to life? Because those are graphic novels brought to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you define that stuff, really. If you want to say Indiana Jones best popcorn movie ever, because I don't really know definitions and I really like this movie, I'll go with it.
Sure, but maybe.
Confirmation bias.
Email us in with at
Asterisks.
contentcrisishotline@yahoo.com if you have a better popcorn movie definition. Maybe I'll do some research.
Yeah, and tell us why.
Yeah, tell me why. I don't want to do the research. Don't make me do it all.
Tell me
So anyway.
why.
All right, I got a prompt. Indy's just kind of the worst teacher, and they show it to us here. Brody walks in his classroom constantly, and he always stops awkwardly in the middle of what he's saying. He goes, and then, and the other thing about archaeology, so like probably never there more than 2 days in a row. Says he'll be in his office, then literally hops out his window.
That man has never made
And goes
his
on an
office
adventure.
hours. Not once.
He's never graded a paper.
No.
I mean, nothing. So, like, I don't know. I wish Indy would. Look, in the next movie when he's fired,
Yeah.
more or less. I know he gets his
Bound to
job.
happen.
I know he gets his job back, but it's like, yeah, goddamn right, you got fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so let's talk a little bit about that, right? So once we're in that sequence, we're at the school. He's going through these waves of people who all want to do interviews with him and shit because he's now like pseudo celebrity, status kind of thing. It's like, how important is Indy in like the home culture? Like, everything we know is the cool shit he does, overseas with the adventuring and the getting the artifacts and everything there. But it's like, is he like a local celebrity or is he like an actual celebrity? Like, what is really his notoriety level? How important is this guy really?
If we can take anything from Raiders, we can say that Indy is local hunk, worldwide celebrity archaeologist.
Okay.
What do you think?
I still feel like it's only local. Because,
But everywhere he goes,
Okay.
Dr. Jones. You know
Okay,
what
but
I mean?
think about it this way. How many
Dr. Jones,
famous
Dr. Jones.
archaeologists do you know?
I mean, right? Yeah, the average.
out of,
So
your,
I'm
out,
thinking-
out of your top 10,
The average.
who else do you know?
Outside my top 10? Well, fuck. I don't know.
Who else do you know?
Top 10 archaeologists. The Rock.
What else you got?
9 other guys. 9 other rocks. There's Geode's Geodude. He's a rock.
The thing.
Jesus Christ. Archaeology.
Yeah, no. Again, yeah. I mean, but like we wouldn't know famous archaeologists, right? So I guess in that community, I guess
Well, yeah, because it's like
worldwide.
it's an education
Mr.
thing.
Worldwide.
and Mr. Worldwide. Yeah, but it's like it's an education thing. So like those guys, you would assume would be like, oh, so and so just put out this paper, and I'm gonna read it because it pertains to whatever I'm doing, and that kind of thing. So you're like, oh, that guy's got some good shit. I'm gonna remember his name. So yeah, in that sense, like those guys probably have that.
Yeah,
but
did you read Dr. Jones' thesis on how a bunch of weird spirits came out of a box and killed 40 Nazis? I did not catch that one.
You
no.
know, I don't think
But-
it actually held water because I'm pretty sure he didn't cite his sources.
You're
so-
right.
Well, he had his eyes closed, fucking retard.
Yeah, so-
I was there. I did not see it occur.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, fucking tinfoil hat over here.
Well, then how do you know?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think
You should have opened one eye. Maybe only half of you would have melted.
just got like one melted eyeball. Wears an eye patch now.
I seen it.
Two-Face.
Indiana
Tim
Jones
Burton.
of the Caribbean. Yeah.
Caribbean.
But what I was gonna say is, you know, we don't know worldwide archaeologists, but like, how many fucking scientists do you know? But like, there's the people that you know, transcend, right? Do such big
Yeah.
things. So like, name a scientist. Go.
Marie Carey.
Okay, I don't know who that is. I was gonna say, I thought the first answer would honestly be.
I was gonna say Dr. Shivargo.
Okay, I don't know what's going
you
on
did
here.
Not understand this prompt. Who were you thinking?
Dr. Jekyll
Name
and Mr.
another.
Hyde.
Okay, that's
Doctor
not-
No.
No, come on.
Ah.
I'll send it to you from Russia with love. Einstein, motherfucker. Goddamn.
Oh well, yeah, sure.
Like, that's the only like famous scientist I would think of. You know what I mean?
And yet it
And
took
so-
us 2 minutes
Yeah.
to think of them. We might be dumb. It's not.
Well, yeah, but then you were like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, you're not
We
trying
went
now.
real to fiction, back to real. You know,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's fine. No, okay, but then the only other one I would think of, which I don't even know if this counts, but like Oppenheimer, because that fucking movie's coming out.
Yeah.
But anyway, Indy, I think in this universe, obviously not. I mean, in our universe, obviously.
Yes. No. This
he's
was
an
real.
adventurer. No, but in this universe, like Indy is that motherfucker. Like he's like another Einstein
that
type
boy.
dude, right?
Yeah.
But in archaeology, right? Like you know that guy because he does sweet shit in his field. Whereas like, what did Einstein do? I don't know. E equals MC squared or something.
Theory of relativity.
Theory of
Think about
Why don't
the-
you explain here, Mike? Why don't you explain theory of relativity
Yeah, no, I
to
can't.
us?
That's it.
Oh,
That's all I got.
interesting. You fucking nerd. Okay.
Well, you see.
Anyway, yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah. So you guys think in his universe, in the actual movie, the people like when they were flocking to him for office hours and like trying to talk to him, it was because he was celebrity and not because he was the professor.
No, I think those students are pissed at him because I think
He's never there.
he's never there, and they're trying to get
I
like
can't
him.
graduate until you grade my
Oh
grade
yeah,
paper!
there's like 15-year seniors that are like, God damn this guy.
Every
And you
fucking
grade it.
year.
Just write an A. Just write an A.
Yeah,
Do it.
Every goddamn year.
he's just like hopping out the window again. They moved his fucking office to the 8th floor, you know, and he's just fucking like got bandanas and shit, like, you know, rappelling down the side of the university.
Bed sheets
They,
just tied
they
together.
started putting fucking suicide nets out there for Indy, you know, because they're like, God damn it, this guy.
This guy fucking sucks.
He just keeps escaping his duties.
He keeps walking in the school, and like 18-year seniors just like pelt him with pens and papers. Like, I could have been a lawyer by now.
Fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah. Jason, what's your next thing? We got?
I want to talk about humanizing your heroes and your idols a little bit.
Okay.
So because in this one, and kind of like the awkwardness and some of the finesse that we came to know and love was a little bit less in this one compared to the other two, right? He was a little bit more bumbling is the word I kept coming back to using. You know, there was, especially when he's in those scenes with his dad, there's just a lot of that finesse that's not really there. And it's a little bit more of those like kind of goofy mistakes to make it, I guess, lighthearted, you know, kind of in the ways we talked about there. But with Indy kind of being this character that, you know, a lot of us kind of, you know, saw as that like cool hero, action hero, adventure hero kind of guy. I really like just that we get to, you know, humanize him in these ways where it's like a, you know, number one, the awkwardness with your dad. Number two, like you're not really great at your job in a lot of these scenes. And I just want to talk about, our hero characters, ones like, you grow up looking up to this guy. Are they supposed to be, these human, realistic people? Or are they supposed to be perfect action heroes? Which way do you think works better as that kid looking up to it?
I would like to think that Indiana Jones's character works better because you can see, well, now that I'm saying this out loud, I feel dumb because if I'm young and I'm very young and watching this, I don't think I connect as much. If I'm in 18 to 25-year-old and I'm watching it, I think I connect more because you're absolutely right. Oh, he's got problems with his dad. Oh, he bumbles around and he, drops things and he fucks stuff up and he's not the perfect every single time timing this correctly and doing this correctly every single time. That's so far-fetched if you're watching certain movies, that kind of thing.
Sure.
As a little kid, would I look up to him? Absolutely. Do I connect more with him as an adult? Yes. And I think that kind of makes it stronger as an actual character when you're watching this kind of stuff because it's not so... Everything he does isn't perfect. Sure. And so he's relatable in that sense. And so that's why I think, yes, it's much easier to look at Indy instead of looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger in X amount of movies.
Yep.
I would say I like the Indy model, yes. Because you don't, this sounds stupid as hell, but, you're like, oh, you're setting impossible standards for these little girls, right, with, like, the models in magazines.
Sure.
But I think of it, like, the same way. Like, your heroes should be, like, something attainable, right? Like, there's no problem with looking at, say, like a world-class athlete or something that, like every person is not going to be able to, like, be like them. But there's no fault in, like, looking up to that person, but, like, I don't know, I like the Indy model. I don't know, I don't think there's anything wrong with either.
Okay.
I think maybe we shouldn't have such a focus on who we want to be like, and to sound even more cheesy, yes. Maybe we should want to be our own hero.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Perfection isn't attainable. Just do your best, big guy.
That's what I'm saying.
I did my best. I did my best.
That's still one of the funniest things I've seen is people gaming together, and you're on a team or whatever, and some guy just screams, "What the fuck are you doing?" And someone else is like, "I'm doing my best." And go, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, keep going, buddy. You got this. You got this."
Yeah. That's usually me. I'm the guy who's out there just fighting for his goddamn life and not doing too hard.
Why are you shooting at our own team?
I'm new. I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's why I stopped playing online video games.
I'm going on mute now. I'm sorry.
No idea. Because it wasn't getting
Just
any
block
better.
me. Just block me. Just block me.
Oh man, that's a good question. Okay. Another question on top of that, then.
Sure.
What other characters are also like Indy or take from the Indy model off the top of your head? Like they are not perfect. They bumble around. You fall in love with them. They're very relatable. It has to be out there, not just in action adventure movies, but like I think it was played out a ton in the 80s and 90s of like perfect guys. The Van Dammes, the fucking Schwarzeneggers, the Stallones, and even in like Rocky, say, like he's getting beat up and he's like, that's his thing, is he can take a punch and then come back and like finally at the end of the round like go like that kind of shit. Like I get it, but like Indy is just more relatable to that than like, okay, Stallone, like, yeah, dude, I don't know, I've never been that poor. I've never just lived in my car. I've never like ran fucking like 50 miles just to go train to go get beat the shit in a fucking boxing ring for 15 rounds of like a Mike Tyson-esque guy. You know what I mean?
I can tell you what, though. I think for all three of us sitting at this table, and most people, I would say the story of Rocky is far more attainable. Of just like, you're just gonna get your fucking face beat in. I think it's easier to get your face beat in and get paid for it than it is to go on all these crazy adventures and bang beautiful women and not remember their names by the fourth movie and
Yeah.
You know, things
When,
like
when you
that.
can boil down all the life struggles to life is swinging hard, but I'm swinging harder.
Yeah.
That's pretty relatable.
Fair enough.
I don't know that we really came to any resolution
I
on
don't
any of
think
that.
we did.
Because I went the cheesy route and just said, like, you should be your own hero. So, and then I think we
You should be your
determined
own
that
hero.
I think we determined that you shouldn't try to be Indiana Jones. If you really want to be a hero, go get your face beat in. So,
You're welcome.
Find your closest bar and start swinging.
Yep.
Life will only go uphill from there.
Just drink enough, not too much, just enough.
Enough that it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, like, I don't know why this came to my head just now, but before, you know, they had the ads for, like, you know, don't drink and drive and shit like that. And I feel like laws used to be a little more laxed. I mean, I wasn't around,
They
obviously,
absolutely were
like,
more
you know,
laxed. Yeah.
way back. But, I mean, none of us were, I guess, way back around. But
1920.
Just think
you're
about-
not 90 years old.
I'm not.
just think about the fact that, you know, people were drinking in a place and one guy got rowdy, you know, and was kind of messing stuff up in a bar for people. And then the just the goal was like, you know, the faster we get that guy out of this bar and behind the wheel of a vehicle, the better for everybody in here.
Not my problem.
The better. Like, we got to get that guy behind the wheel of a motor vehicle as fast as we can.
Hey, buddy, you got to get out here and go home.
Hey.
You good to drive? Sounds good, man. Talk to you later.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
gonna have
also
to ask you to leave this establishment of sane people and get behind the 1-ton vehicle that can drive at least 55 miles an hour and kill at least 20 people before you get home. Understood?
hurry up.
Make sure you wear your lap belt.
I got it.
We'll talk about relativity tomorrow, bud. Okay. Anyway, so the tank chase for me was just one of my moments because, like, look, if the luckiest thing that has happened to Indy is not like the hanging from the fucking gun,
Yeah,
And
and,
then-
not getting
yeah, and then all of a
creamed
sudden
into
at
the
last moment,
rock face. Yeah.
right? If that's not the luckiest thing that's ever happened to him, I don't know what is. Henry and Brody, this is kind of multi-pointed, so just as you
Bear
answer.
with him.
But Henry and Brody do not fit in here. Like, they walk in, they're doing their little rhyme about like an evacuation or whatever the fuck they were saying.
What the fuck
Rescue.
was that?
Weird as shit. That's what it was. You know, the whole pen is mightier than the sword and all that bullshit.
They were having their own adventure, very separate from
Yes,
what
absolutely.
the rest of the movie
yes.
was on.
And I'm not sure how talking point this really is now that I'm reading it, but just I love when Sala's riding up, like Sala with the camels.
camels?
Like, Sala, I said no camels.
I count 5 camels.
He's like, I have to return them to pay for the
It's from my
yeah.
brother-in-law's car.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like riding up, and Henry's on the thing of the side of the tank, and he fucking gives him the hat tip. He's like, "Father of Indy, give me your hand." Like, I don't know. I love everything there. But that,
I'm
okay,
a father of Indy.
I guess the real question there, because that was just kind of me grouping everything. So the real question there, is that the luckiest thing that's happened to Indy? Like, the last second, like what is the luckiest thing for Indy in these? Like, let's just focus on these first 3
Okay.
movies.
I mean, really, any time he's been shot at has got to be the
Well,
luckiest
sure.
thing, right? Like, almost every scene is fully automatic weapons, and you just see, like, his perfect body being outlined.
But I think you just think of like, that's not luck anymore. That's just his plot armor.
Sure.
Like when Superman gets shot in the chest and it just, you know, the bullet gets flattened. Like, you don't go like, "Oh, lucky he's got that chest." Like, you just go like, "Ah, he's Superman."
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, what's the like luckiest thing with Indy?
I'll break it down right now. Like, an easier way to put it is Indy in each of these movies has had 3 fights where he kills a superior being. But
This time being a tank.
well, no. So here's the thought. Yes, but the thought is, so in Raiders, it was the super tall giant guy around the airplane, and he killed him, but he didn't kill him. The second movie in Temple was the big, huge guy that he had the big fight with, and then the dude ended up getting his like turban or scarf or whatever caught and like died with the rock crusher.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool, another giant that he like slays. So in this one, I was thinking like, well, who the fuck is it? Blah, blah, blah. And the only I could get back to was the dickhead Nazi general that, like, you know, slaps people in the face with his gloves and that type of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that happened. And, like, the tank thing just fits with that real quick snapshot of each of those, because he should have fucking been murdered in the past 2 movies in those small little scenes. And in this one, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. Like, oh, like, just by chance, a gun goes off and shoots the coolest guy in the whole movie, and the coolest guy in the whole movie just falls on something, and then the last second, you're right. Oh, if it didn't happen that second, and 2 seconds later, he'd be dead. But it just, again, hand in hand with all that kind of stuff, is like in that epic one fight per movie. Each of those, it's like, that's what it was. That's the thing. And, like, is it the luckiest? Seems like it, because it was him hanging off a tank. There's a rock there. But just as easily, in Raiders, that was on fire. He's got a big guy trying to kill him. Marion's stuck in the fucking cockpit of that plane. Plane's about to blow up. And it's just like, dude, guys, gotta go. Fucking, come on, do something. Do something else. Like, So the tension and the anxiety rises on a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, I think that this one maybe forced it down your throat that he was really lucky.
Sure.
But, I mean, I think he's been in those snafus in each one.
And I think we could probably argue that, like, circumstance is also built into plot armor, right?
Sure.
So, you know, I know it comes up in at least enough of the Bond movies where it's like you're going up against, like, the super person, the biggest, the baddest, whatever person, and it's usually circumstance or opportunity is what
We call this person a Jaws.
Yeah. So, you know, it's what allows, you know, there's always just that circumstance that allows you to, you know, either outsmart, outwit, out-circumstance, you know, the person who just clearly should be able to defeat you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the things. Like, circumstance is kind of built into the plot armor throughout all this. So, you know, those bullets dancing all around him, never hitting them. You know, the people getting caught up in, you know, their own contraptions. You know, the dude getting chopped up by the plane blades. It's all just circumstance, plot armor.
Yeah.
It's all one thing.
That's a good point. So I have one more thing, but it is like when we're like absolutely done. So you guys give me any more
I'm about ready.
stuff you got. Okay.
I think I'm ready.
You ready for the end?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do this.
One man.
Give it to me.
One solution.
See,
One
again,
time,
we talked about this.
one
It sounds
place.
real Nazi-ish.
Yeah, no
Say
more
one man, one
solutions.
solution.
The final solution to the end of this podcast.
So I will say, what would? Okay, yeah.
Sorry, no.
No.
I needed to make a point.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking outlandish couple scenes. One, the tank scene.
Yeah.
But the jousting scene in this movie, where it was just like, how fucking crazy was that? Like, oh, hey, by the way, like, yeah, these 4 guys follow you, but this one guy slips up and goes right in front of you and comes back. And he was like, yeah, he busts through the gate. I'm going to bust through the gate. What do we do? He's got a gun. I don't know. Oh, how convenient. A flagpole.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to shove it through him. It was just one of those, like, seriously? Was it
Circumstantial plot
needed?
armor.
Yeah, but it was so ridiculous.
No, I know, yeah.
Like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
again, with the, like, that's what I was saying at the beginning, like, a lot more of than the other two, just the, really?
So also the jousting and the plane scene,
Yes.
where he's like, I don't know, you know how to fly a plane? He goes, fly, yeah. Land, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's just
I
like, oh,
love that
perfect
admission. He'd be
landing.
like, yeah, I've never really landed one of these well before. It doesn't-
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I usually crash land. Let's see how far we get.
Yeah. So it was just like that also built into this film was like, fuck.
Like the Nazi tale, like, because I didn't want to just sit here and just list everything I had, but since you're in that spot of the movie, the Nazi fucking fighter pilots
Showing
that
up
can't
out of nowhere?
shoot out the amateur. Well, no, I mean, the Nazis are like, hey, they're on the fucking blimp. You know, that guy got thrown overboard. Like, they know what's up. That one's not hard for me to believe. But then the fucking army pilots
Couldn't
or
do
Navy
that.
pilot, whatever you call it, I don't know.
Whatever they are, yeah.
Military classifications, but they can't shoot down an amateur pilot that can't even land the plane.
Yeah, they were taking no evasive maneuvers. Like, they were running
Nothing.
pretty straight for a while there. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm pretty sure if I was in
And-
the gunner seat, I could have figured it out.
And Henry was the one that shot them down.
Yeah.
Oh no, Junior, I have
And
to
then,
tell you.
And then they're so
They got us.
stupid that they
Yeah.
drive into the tunnel, and the guy's just like, "Here we go." He's like, "Oh no!" Like, what the fuck?
The awkward, like, side glance at each other as they're
Yeah.
going, and he's just scraping by.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
So Anyway,
All right, finish this up.
all right. What would you say the overarching message of this movie is? Before you say anything, I have 2 suggestions. Women ruin everything. She lost the grail for everybody, right? Tried to run right out the door. Or maybe it's give up on your dreams. Henry said, "Let it go, son." He gave up. Then Henry Jr. gave up. So, I don't know. What do you got? You got other suggestions, or maybe one of those 2?
I think sharing is caring is a central theme to this. We shared the woman. We shared a lot of the dreams.
Dirty cum slut takes 2 big loads,
right?
From, father son.
We were sharing the goblet a little bit there. I think sharing is caring is a pretty central theme to this entire story.
Sure.
Those are all great. I don't have one. Those are fantastic.
You want to pick one then?
I'm
No?
fine with all of those. I'm
Yeah,
A-okay
all
with
of
all
the
of
above.
those.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
give up on your dreams. Like as far as it really hitting all the categories, that seems like that really hits the most on it, right?
Yeah.
It's like no matter what comes up, you can put all this time and effort, you can obsess over all of these things, but in the end, we still lost the Grail that Jones Sr. spent pretty much his whole life fretting about and
Had an
sacrificed the
entire
relationship with
sketches.
his son for, right? Jones Jr., and kind of joining in this pursuit, doing all these things to impress and kind of reconcile the relationship with your father. Grail's still lost. Now it's only the 2 of you to figure out what you want to do together.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else, their dream is just led them to greed and a lot of self-sacrifice, and in the end we end up with nothing to show for it. So I'd say the truest out of all of those is definitely going to be give up on your dreams.
Just give up on your dreams.
Or maybe it's like call your dad or something. I don't
Oh.
know.
Don't set goals because you don't want to just not hit them.
All right. Well, cool. Anything? Everybody good?
I'm good.
All right.
It was a fun time.
Cool. Well, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. You found us somewhere, obviously, because you're here.
And if you're not careful, it will find you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Use your incognito tab. No, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Email us, consecrationshotline@yahoo.com. Twitter, consecrations1. Consecrations on Instagram. We post clips and stuff. So, yep. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever. Goodbye.